Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. We thank David Brand for joining us and talking about a very important issue to so many Bronxites. Now we're going to take a different tack, and we're going to talk about something else very important: young people in the Bronx. And we're going to say good evening to Justine Manzano, who is a Bronx author and really thinks a lot about young people in the Bronx, don't you?
Yes, I do. I write for young people in the Bronx, so I have to kind of keep my finger on the pulse there.
You got to know who they are. So the book is Never Say Never. That's most recent, and there you can see the cover of the book. I have to tell you, the official biography of Justine, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Is tough on the outside, but sweet on the inside." And this I didn't quite like, but I guess you think it's okay. It says she's the geeky author of geeky young adult novels. I don't like that. I guess other people understand it better than I do. Just talk to me about who you are, why you write for who you write for, and you know why it works for you to do these kinds of things.
Sure. Well, the geeky YA author about with geeky books is all about the fact that I kind of grew up influenced by comic books and superheroes and all kinds of things like that. And I believe we talked about that last time I was on. I was on for The Order of the Key, which was my first book release, and that one was about superheroes. This one's not, but I do like things that are out of the ordinary, things that are different. So that's the geeky side of me. I'm also, I'm so interested in that moment in our lives where we're growing up and we're figuring out who we are. And that is the area of life that we talk about in young adult books. So that's what really, I think it's the most like drama filled and interesting part of a person's life.
Before we get into some of the specifics of Never Say Never, which really is very interesting and it works on any number of levels, just talk to me about an agenda. I'd like to think. I mean, you want to entertain, and you want to get young people to be stimulated. Is there an agenda in your mind, like you say, I'm going to write this so young people will react, will learn? Tell me about, as an author, what is your objective, aside from, of course, putting out things that young people will digest, and of course, reading anything is good.
That's true. I'm actually like, I feel like each book is different, the approach for it, but I know, like, for me, when I wrote my first book, I was talking about people who, when kids want to feel strong and want to feel like they're making their own decisions. And for this book, which is about the child of divorced parents or divorcing parents, and how she navigates that, it's because I was the child of divorced parents, and I remember what that felt like, and I know that it could often feel pretty lonely, and I wanted to reach out to the type of people who were going through that now and who could understand that feeling and would not feel as alone, because they see a book that's like them.
Uh, One thing I'm always interested in how an artist or a writer does their stuff. At least as I now understand, you and your husband are writers, and it was said in some of the materials that you both sit there communicating with with each other, virtually or by texting or doing all that kind of stuff. Um, does, does that influence your writing, or is that a distraction? Has that emboldened you to be a better writer? How does that affect who you are as a writer?
It's funny because he was a writer first, and I just sort of like learned it off of him through time as we were together. And it's just very relaxing to have a partner who gets what you're doing and understands why you need to take like an hour to, sitting with your head stuffed in the computer trying to figure something out, or like he gets that part of me that maybe someone who wasn't an artist would not understand in the same way. But we feed off of each other. We're very lucky that we are each other's editors, and we send each other work. And it's just, there's a lot of like even balance that only someone else who's in your
space,
your
so to
field
speak. Yes.
would understand. Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. And so the answer to my question was yes, it has influenced my work. It's
Yes,
made me a better
definitely.
writer and all that. I get that. I want to talk about, when I think of songwriters and great musicians, and they may be 18 years old, whether it be a rapper or whether it be, somebody way back when, like when I was growing up, like the Beatles, they wrote very intricate love songs that would seem to me to be out of their realm. In other words, how did they know that that's how you feel when your girlfriend breaks up or sees somebody else or any of the things that go on? How do you get into the head of people who may be 10, 15, 20 years, I'm not going to start asking ages,
Yeah.
younger than you are, younger than we are, and be able to write it in a way that's in their language that they will understand and communicate about?
Well, it doesn't hurt that I have a 12-year-old bordering on a teenager at home.
So you get into that head and say, gee, what would she might be?
Well,
She or he?
but yeah,
Okay.
a lot of times, like as far as understanding what's important to younger people, it's really just picking his brain. But a lot of it is empathy, and a lot of it is just having lived through things, and you just sort of try to channel that 16-year-old version of Justine that went through A, B, or C, and remember how important these little things like prom or things like that were to me when I was that age.
Or as in the case of Never Say Never, parents who are divorcing and being
Exactly.
that age and trying to deal with all the things that puberty means and all the things that, goodness, we know what our middle school students are like, and deal with that, and then have that very traumatic thing around you. It was said to me, and my producer, Rebecca Hemick, said that Raven from Teen Titans is kind of a model of some sort. I don't know anything about it. This would well be second and third hand to me. So why don't you talk? Is there a direct relationship? Is it coincidental? Was Justine just kind of stumbled on something? Tell me a little bit about that.
That wasn't intentional. This
Was
was
not intentional.
The Raven from Teen Titans meets Bridget Jones comment actually came from one of my critique partner, who I work with, that I send stuff to as I'm coming up with ideas, and she just said that the voice and the tone of the story just really struck that. And then I saw it, then I couldn't get away from it because the character.
Well, then you were trapped. Oh my goodness!
It was so funny because I love that character because she's very deadpan and very serious and sarcastic and just, really, I mean, kind of a like bummer type of character sometimes, but it's because she's going through serious stuff. And the way she looks at the world is very sarcastic and kind of edgy. And Bryn, my main character in Never Say Never, has been sort of put in that place by the way her life has been going. And so she's extremely sarcastic and dark in the way she looks at things and can be kind of mean sometimes because of it. But I didn't see that. Well, I wasn't writing towards that. It was just something that kind of came out of it that someone noticed, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. That's a good one.
We have so many different levels, and I mean, you look around me. I've got many Bronx books around me. We have authors write all kinds of things in the Bronx. To me, this is so important to write things for young people that talk about issues that they have to deal with in their language. So this is a question I have no idea if I'm out of bounds for asking. How do we get you into an English class to guest lecture about the book and have the kids respond to it? And do you do that stuff? If not, I'm going to call all my English teacher friends and say, hey, you got to have Justine in there. Let them talk to
English teacher friends.
What's that? You want me to call my friends?
Yeah, I would love to talk to young people about this. I've been kind of limited because of the fact that, we're doing the whole pandemic thing right now. Yes. And so I haven't really had the opportunity to get out there with the book.
It's just an idea I had. I'm sorry when I'm talking. No, this is what we need for our kids. Let them read, let them learn, let them meet somebody who's Bronxite like Justine. And that's what we got to do in our classroom.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
There you go.
Love to do. No, seriously, I love to talk to kids, and I'm definitely try not to feel like too far away from them. I know that sometimes people can be a little difficult to reach for younger people, and
especially now, man. Of course.
yeah, I'm the most laid back person you'll ever meet.
We're almost out of time. I want to just do a couple of things. Number
Sure.
one, how long does it take you to write this one? And do you already have the next one in your head, or do you have to clear it all out and then get started? I just want to measure what kind of a writer you are.
It took me about 6 months to write this one.
Wow.
But the one before it took me years. So I now have learned how to streamline the process. I already had the next one in mind as an idea, but not in anything concrete. Like I still had to outline it and things like that. I just sort of knew what it would probably be about.
And so do you have the next one in your mind? Like that's what I'm going to write about, or you're going to clear out and get started?
I have the next one because in the time that it takes to get it to publication, I have the next one in.
I knew you did. I knew you did. I know, just from talking to Justine a couple of times, I know she's always creating. Listen, so where can people find Never Say Never? Wherever books are sold?
Wherever books are sold. However, I do signed copies for Boogie Down Books in the Bronx.
Oh, you see, you are out there in the Bronx talking.
I am in the Bronx. Yeah, so they have signed copies via order. I think they have some in their pop-up shops as well, but definitely if you order online, you can request a signed copy and I'll get that signed for you. And it can be personalized too.
Justine, you get the applause for the day. We need this so bad for our kids right now. There's the book, Never Say Never. You can order it. Let's get all our kids reading and talking and even meeting people face to face so they can understand, what it is to be a writer. Justine Manzano, you're invited back when the next one comes. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. That's all. Thank you to David Brand. Thank you to Justine Manzano. Thank you to our great producer, Rebecca Hemick. And we're going to see you next week.